Feeling trapped by all the stuff? Can't keep up? No time to think or plan? Has the rush and gush of modern life got you trapped?
Slow is the new fast. Slow is the new fast.
Slow is the new fast.
Set your coordinates. It's Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time, with your host, the VIP coach, John Davidson.
Welcome. This is JD, the VIP coach. Great to be with you here. It is the 25th of November, 2014, and you're listening to the Mach 0 podcast show. And you're here because you're an entrepreneur, you're a business leader, and you want more. You want more out of life, and you want to create the things that really, really matter to you. You're probably in the second half of life, which means that your values are changing. Yeah, you really want to organize your life around what matters to you, but you've got a problem. You've got a business, or you've got a career, and you own a job. You don't own a business. You want all the creative freedom, but you just can't get it. And you want to become more useful, more valuable. You want to increase your earning power, but several obstacles stand in your way. The reason why you're listening to this show is you don't want all the hype. That's right. You don't want to be looking at how you're changing your beliefs or look at positive thinking. What you want is to become a more effective creator in your life. You want to master your creative process. And that means you learn the mechanics of the process and how to orient yourself in your life in a more creative way. That there are different ways in which you can orient yourself, two different orientations in life. You're here because you've chosen the path of leadership, which means to bring desired creations that you want into being. So here we are. It's Thanksgiving week. And you probably have a lot of thoughts and ideas about what this week really means to you. When I think about Thanksgiving week, I think about thanking the people that have gotten me to who I am, got me to where I am. It's really easy to forget that. But if you just take stock, if you take a moment and you get silent and you think about the 5 individuals, if you look behind you, that really brought you into what you have, who you are today, you'll get emotional. Yeah? You'll start seeing all of the unique abilities and talents and gifts that they put into your path, into your direction. And maybe it's a great moment for you, either silently inside yourself or literally go out and say thank you to those individuals. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can just be a heartfelt thank you for what you've impacted my life with. Here's how you've impacted my life. And letting them know how their unique abilities and talents and personal gifts have gone into you. It kind of completes the circle, doesn't it? Because they don't really get the fullness of their potential. They don't really get the definition of their self until they know how they've affected another. We know that the properties that you have, the properties of anything, is defined by the patterns of interactions that these things have. Relationship is the organizing principle of our reality. So we have to interact with something. We live in a gift economy. Every individual has a different fingerprint. We have a different voice. And so what is our place to take in the ecosystem? That is the path of our soul. That means we craft our life around our deepest desires. Our desires are desire of the King. They emanate. They are emerging from the soul. We just want something for its own sake. And the quality of our actions is driven by the generative love we have. We fall in love with our creations before we create the creations. But see, for a lot of us, that's not the existence that we're living. And so in today's show, that's right, we're going to talk about this whole topic of gratitude, about appreciating, because what you appreciate appreciates. What you appreciate appreciates. That's right. What you appreciate, what you notice, expands. What you notice expands. So I'd like you to think about this word gratitude. What does it mean to you to have a gratefulness? What does it mean to you to be grateful for what it is that you have? Maybe one way that you can be grateful, one way you can define gratefulness is appreciating, noticing, recognizing that which has been given to you, that which has been presented to you. And as if you've taken this path of leadership, as you're driving a team, or you're helping other people's lives, you're helping them realize their potential, you're leading a business, all of these things that go into that process, gratitude is a huge part of it. Gratitude brings you into how you're going to play towards the future. It really does. It's a certain attitude towards the present moment. When I think about gratitude, I think about whatever it is that's being given to me in the present moment. It's something that I have to meet. There's sort of a general gratitude. It's a sense that whatever it is that's going to show up is perfect, because that which the future needs is being given to me at any moment. I'm going to say that again to you, just so it goes into you, that everything the future needs is being given to you in this moment. You don't have to like it, but as a leader, you accept the present moment just as it is, without adding any interpretations, without hard-handed judgments, without conceptualizing why this, why that, woe is me, victim thinking. Instead, you just come to it and present yourself to reality just as it is. And this takes some effort, but it is the greatest form of gratitude to be able to say, I will meet whatever it is. How do you have gratitude for betrayal? You know that life is your teacher, that the reason you came here is to learn. We're all just in a big boot camp. And so every single experience is a chance to integrate something. It has something unique and genuine inside of it, and the word genuine means perfect. It means to be actually what it is, to be the real McCoy, to be definite, to be something as it is, to be true. So gratitude is a form of appreciation. It's appreciating what it is that's landing on your plate. It's treating life as if it's an invited guest. But JD, the universe is a wild card. How do I deal with the things that I don't expect? What happens when the currents turn right, when I'm going left? Gratitude. Because you're forced to listen. You have to listen as if you invited the moment. You accept the present moment just as it is. So what does that mean? That means that you're not referential around how it makes you feel. Sure, you feel what you feel. Those are parts of your experience. You're not referential around your reactions toward it. You're just feeling what you feel. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel bad. You're going to have the range. You should have fluency with that. That's fine. But gratitude is about receiving. It's about learning how to receive whatever it is that's being dealt you. You play the cards that are in the hand that you have. Now, for a lot of individuals, this is the opposite of being angry. They're just angry. They want to take a pill I call a fuck it all. The fuck it all pill is saying, I don't want this. Fuck it all. I didn't order this up. I would have changed it in. I'd like to change in my family for a new one. I'd like to change my father and my mother in for a new one. I'd like to change these friends, these liars, for a new one. I'd like to change this divorced relationship for a new one. This is not what I ordered up. And so we have expectations. And the expectations, they basically dictate what I'm supposed to expect. Or we seek the familiar. The mind wants to find familiarity. We don't want to be challenged beyond the familiar. What is your relationship with the mystery? Now, uncertainty is very different than mystery. Mystery is what life has in store for you. It is the creation itself inside of life. Remember, life is in the business of creating life. Yes, we're doing things, but we're also being done at the same time. We're evolving in the feminine way, in the feminine energy, in the spiritual, but we're also creating. We're moving, we're creating, we're doing, we're bringing things into being. Many of us are in our happiest states in life when we're moving towards something that has meaning for us, that touches us in some way, that completes us in some way. We all have some kind of sacred project. Some of us answer the call, others don't. So what is it that's landing on your runway? How could it possibly be perfect? If it is what the future ordered it up, what can you learn? What's the teaching that's wrapped inside of it? Learning to receive with gratitude. So when you do this, when you receive what it is, there's kind of a radical acceptance to it. There's an acceptance to that which is being given to you. It's a very aggressive step to suggest that you radically accept, you meet, you expect nothing, and you're ready for anything. You welcome everything and expect nothing. How does this gratitude start to come to the surface? Well, many have called it cultivating a don't-know mind, that what gets in the way of our gratitude is our judgment. that our judgment starts to cloud out our thinking, and we begin to narrow in on our own biases. So we start to filter and we hack reality into our own ways, our own habitual ways of thinking. And so we kind of order up the way things are supposed to be. We insert that over reality like a veneer, and we expect things to play out the way they're supposed to, and boop, they don't go our way, and oh boy. And then we confront that in ourselves and say, well, it shouldn't have been that way, or based on the way I see myself, a person like me wouldn't have had it that way, or I didn't deserve that, or I'm entitled to something else. Our television between our 6 inches between our ears just cooks us because it keeps us from understanding the way things actually are. And the only way to absorb, to be able to relate with the unknown, is by bringing our open heart to what that is. How do you understand negativity? How do you make space? None of us are disqualified from negativity. We all have it. So how do we deal with it? How do we become friendly with negativity? It's like an acquired taste. On reality's terms, it's good, it's bad, and it's ugly. So what terms are you on with it? How do you embrace the energy of negativity? And how do you awaken from it? How do you learn from it? And there's no fancy answer to this, folks. You just do. You just remain mindful of what it is that you have going on. And as you're mindful with it, you just make space in yourself for something that disconfirms what you originally thought. You stop downloading that feed into your mind about what things are or what they should be. You stop making comparisons. It's that comparison thinking that's the gratitude blocker. But see, when you're in that gratitude state, when you're in the state of gratefulness, you just come to it. You come to it without adding anything to it. You don't bring anything to it. It's like dying into it. And then out of that, you begin to see how the future is emerging. And you're looking forward to whatever face the future is going to bring you. Because the future is emerging every moment, folks. As we lead into the future, you're learning from it as it's emerging. The only way to really know what's next is you're making it up as you go along. There are no experts. All the volatility that we have that occurs to us is potentially a source of vision. All of the ambiguity that we have around us, we have to confront the unknown, and we're agile by doing that. It's like an agility-driven force. And then we make things out of it. We sense what the creation wants. And so we have to meet life. We have to meet it there. We have to have a different conversation with it. We can't bring the past conversation with us. We have to meet it at the conversation it wants to have. A creative conversation. A conversation that has animation in it. Whenever I'm in a coaching call, I take very seriously that the conversation itself is a living entity. It has animation. It has information inside of it that is ready to become embodied. And that inside of it, there's something in there when I bring my knowing to the surface, when I'm just with it directly, and I'm actually with the present moment. I'm not preoccupied with the future in anticipation. I'm not yearning about the past. I'm not trying to avoid the repeatedness or the problems that I know are possible from the past. I'm not pulling from my knowledge about what's going on. I'm not preoccupied with me and who I am or who I need to be or what other people are thinking or what's going on with them. None of it. It's not future, past, me or them. It's just now. And now is where the possible gratitude lives. Because now is where the connection is drawn to your open heart. Now, the open heart as a leader is your empathy, your emotional intelligence, your capacity to intend something that you care about and bring it into being because you care about it enough. The motivation isn't getting yourself worked up. The motivation isn't trying or forcing. It's not about discipline. It's about imagining something first. It's about being grateful for the possibilities to rethink everything right now. Because you can. Because everything is up for grabs. It's about appreciating the brevity of life that makes it compact, that makes it economizable and efficient. To really think it, what's really at the top? What's at the top of the cards? And what are you going to play? Because really, time management is priority management. You can organize your life around your choices and decisions or not. You can react to the circumstances. You could play it that way and be a victim, or you can choose and take your cues from that which you want to create. So gratitude is being appreciative. It's having a hope in that maneuverability, into that creative liberation that's always available to you. And it's the remembrance of that. It's remembering not to forget that is possible, that you go into the next moment with what matters to you, but nothing negates that. Nothing disqualifies that. I'd rather have an empty pocket over an empty heart any day. I love that story about Mother Teresa, where she's offered an incredible amount of donation money from a donator, a philanthropist, and she turns the individual down 3 times, and the individual says, "Don't you need this money? You can do this. You can feed the sick. You can do this. You can give it to these people. They need it." And she says, "That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I want. No, thank you. Keep your money." And so after the 3rd time, she says, what would really help is if you today could find someone who's been marginalized or impoverished or someone who's alone and tell them that they are never alone. And as you hear that, you can hear the real fundamental value that's behind that. You can hear that is speaking an open-hearted comment, that's an opportunity to really give someone something that they need to hear, that the world is never isolated, that we are all in the same boat, and that we are all unified on the same plane. We're unified by the same place. We are Homo sapiens. We are one who knows. Homo sapiens. We are one who knows. What do we know? Yeah, it's something worth thinking about. What do we know? I think we know something that, maybe we know that we don't know, and that part of our conscious evolution is that we come to terms with that we don't really know anything, and that we have to consistently unlearn what we know to learn, and it's a process of dying back into something waiting to be born. There's a refreshment, there's a recycling process of something on the way out that is giving rise to something on the way in, and the gratitude principle is that which is needing to go out is appreciated as a visitor for a while, but everything is temporary, nothing is permanent, and so we invite ourselves to let go, to take our hands off of what we're attached to not cling to things, but let things run their course as they're supposed to. If you have something that's ready to end, let it end. Don't hold on to it. And if you have something that's ready to begin, step forth with alacrity and appreciate what's emerging and what's about to be given to you. And it's that courageous step to step in with all we are, courage, core from the heart, courage, that kind of tender-hearted bravery of going into it softly, of going into it vulnerably with fragility, of coming to terms with the amicability of the unknown, the mystery that we can only see 200 feet ahead, like headlamps in the car at night driving along the road, that as we go further we can start to see what comes into view. It's this capacity for us to let go and let something come where we find the basic living units of gratitude. We're going to take a break. I'll be right back.
Having a life where you have the creative freedom to do what you love and to offer the world something that only you can bring to the table. That is the world of high-level performance with John Davidson. That is the world of radical creativity. That is the world that you can be a part of when you realize all that is holding you back is you. Begin the journey through one-on-one coaching that gives you the finesse for business and lifetime achievement, and find your place on the roadmap to high-level performance today. Visit highlevelperformance.com. Grow your business and grow as a human being with these captivating books authored by the VIP coach himself, John Davidson. The Day I Built My Barbecue is about creative freedom. Learn how you can not only live well, but also grow a thriving business at the same time. John shows you his step-by-step technique with the principles, strategies, and steps to move from a business operator to a business owner. The day you build your barbecue is the day we all wish for. Totally free of distractions, totally available to living well, fully present. Then don't miss Unstoppable You. It's about creative value. When we do what we love and love what we do, we discover ways to make our business more fun and monetize our passions. Through stories, tools, and steps, this book will help you bring something to the world that no one else can, and bridge your most unique talents to the deepest aspirations you have of the future, and stand in the presence of all you are. It's about creative purpose. What does it mean to live on purpose? How do we work with the mystery that life presents us at every moment. In this book, John shows us through the silent spaces in life how to connect with our innermost sacred projects and passages. You'll learn how to bring the work, language, and presence of the soul into everything you do. Visit highlevelperformance.com to pick up any of these books in paperback or Kindle editions today. That's highlevelperformance.com.
From go time to slow time, slow is the new fast. Mach 0, making time for life one thing at a time. With VIP coach John Davidson.
Welcome back. This is JD, the VIP coach. You're listening to the Mach 0 podcast, where slow is the new fast. I say that very carefully because when we reflect, that's how we change our history. The only way to change our history is through reflection. If we slow down, if we go out in nature, we get into a medium slow pace. We heal, we reflect. And it's in our hands to learn how to access those parts of our intelligence. Hard work can never substitute great intelligence. We tap into our intelligence by opening up all of our organs of perception. And today, with giving thanks, it's about opening up our hearts. It's about remembering this organ of perception inside of us, the capacity for deep empathy, the capacity for understanding and compassion towards ourselves and others. I've never seen a leader harm anyone or do anything harmful by having compassion. Compassion, which means making space for what really is, accepting it for what it really is. That's what it is. It's to accept something or someone legitimately just as they are. That is the capacity for the open heart. But to do it, it requires vulnerability and intimacy. It requires those levels of commitment and conviction to see from the heart, to witness something outside of our bubble in terms of what's happening in the world of another. It may mean going out into the clients that you serve and out into their world and understanding how they look at things through their eyes. Or it may mean in your family looking through the eyes of a person who's been impoverished or harmed or marginalized or beaten up or abused and really looking at them. Or children in school and looking at the world through their eyes. It awakens something inside of us. It commits us. It brings us into a quality of expression that we have access to at any given moment. I think it puts us into a quality of being that characterizes some of our very best ways into interacting with people and life. It's that access to our open heart, the opposite of cynicism. I'm reminded of a story of a young man who came from a broken family, who came to the gate of an affluent neighborhood, the gate of a woman named Linda. And Linda had been in her career for 25 years. She was a banking professional, and Linda lived in a very affluent neighborhood. She was single and very lonely, and there he was outside. It was Peter who was outside of her door, and Peter hadn't eaten in several days. You see, Peter just couldn't deal with the parents that he was living with anymore, and Peter had to seek something else on his own, and it wasn't worth staying in the house because of all the emotional cadence and the abuse. So Peter decided to be homeless. Peter came to her door with puppy dog eyes and rang the doorbell 3 or 4 times. As Linda came out, she didn't recognize him, had never met the stranger before. And Peter said to her, "Please, if you have anything to eat, I would really appreciate it." And she said something in her heart just couldn't not give it to him, that he had obviously come from a broken home, and there was something in him, an innocence or something in her that just couldn't not help him. So when she went back into the house, she got her checkbook, and she came outside with a $300 check. And she said, "Peter, I want you to take this check, and I want you to do something good with it. If this gives you a fresh start, put it into getting yourself schooled, getting your education going, but do something with it, and promise me that you will. It's more than I could offer you to have food. It's something that I can offer you to have food for life. So please use this and put it into your education." Well, that was a very defining moment for Peter. He accepted the check in tears. He walked down the street to Bank of America. He cashed the check, and he had the $300, and he did just that. And at that point, what Peter did was he took the $300 and he put it into a couple of units because Peter was interested in getting into the medical profession. His dream was to be a doctor one day. So going into the school, he talked to the administrator there, and with such heartfelt passion, they actually allowed him in at half the price. In the first year, his grades were an A to A+. And Peter continued to work towards a scholarship to get into the local university. He did just that. He got in with honors, and he went through medical school. Peter became a fantastic cancer doctor and was one of the best in Cleveland, Ohio. And Peter, into his career, 10, 15, now 20 years later, was one of the top cancer specialists around. It's just a fantastic story that just came out of that $300, but the story doesn't end there. That one day, Linda, she found a lump in her breast, and she decided to go into the hospital. So she went in for her breast exam, and it turned out it was a stage 2 cancer, and that she needed to have it removed. She was going to have a mastectomy. But Linda had grown out of her income, and she didn't have all the money to invest to give herself the proper care. And so the administrator submitted a request to the head of the cancer ward. And interestingly, the appointment that Linda came back to, there was a note that was sitting on the top of her invoice. And as the administrator handed it back to her, it read on the note, "Linda, anything you need is going to be green-lighted. Don't hold back. We will treat you with everything you need, and we will get through this. I appreciate the day when you sent me into my life, and you wrote me that check. I will never forget it. Peter." Linda had the operation. This is a true story. And she ended up living a great life. The rest of her life, she lived another 10 years happily. All because she made a decision from her heart and did something for someone that she believed in. And the fact that she believed in him was the motivation that Peter could do something. Because when we give love to troublemakers, when we believe in people, when we see the greatness in them, when we witness their gifts, when we realize that they have something in them that no one else can give to the world, we inspire it. It's a process of dependence that they need other people's eyes. They need to be seen clearly from the heart in order to become the fullness of their potential. We are interdependent this way. Throughout life, we become independent. Even in our society, we get brainwashed in being individualized, to be masterful and be competent and win and be competitive. But what we lose is we lose the softness of our dependence. We lose the necessity for other people to witness us as we truly are, to witness the divinity in us and help bring our song to the world with all the music in us that we have to play. This, to me, is what the essence of the coaching relationship is really about, that we rely on another who looks after us to see inside of our gifts and provide us soul service, to be able to say to us, I got you, I see what's inside of you, I see the magic in you, the genius inside of you. It reminds me of the concept of genius loci, that the genius loci has a certain place that brings the entity into certain powers and magic, that our place to take in the ecosystem is shaped by the sense of community and unification that we have with others around us, that to be seen and to be seen as we are, to be seen in our gifts, is really the process of leadership, to be seeable and to be seen. And they both work in common cause, that we depend on others to see us. Not that they define ourselves, because we define us by halfway. We define our intentions. We live by our life plan. We live by goals. We set forth our own meaning and our path. We chart our own course. That's the individual piece. But then we have the collective. That we're born, that we are defined by how other people see things in us that we can't see. We have a scotoma, a blind spot. That's the leadership blind spot. We don't see all there is to see. We need reverence by other people to see us, to be able to see us in the fullness that we are, to be able to see us nakedly, to be able to see us as we are without any biases or filters, without needing to manipulate us to be impressed by them, but to suspend those needs, to not be preoccupied with power, but to be seen by eyes that can see directly the gifts that we have. And that takes work. That takes trust in the other individual. To be in the other hands of someone that sees us, to see us as we are, to see us objectively, to see us in ways that we can't see us. We cannot see ourselves. You've never seen your own face. You've only seen it in a two-dimensional fashion, but you will never see your own face. There are those that are interested in being seen, and there are those that are not. To me, that's a skill, is letting yourself get help. And doing that means you can't define everything you need and everything you know alone. It means that you are interdependent forever. It's a collective dependence. It's multi-dependence. It's not unilateral, it's multilateral dependence. Unilateral dependence would be to be dependent on yourself, but then you're still dependent on yourself, so you're really never independent. There is no such thing as independence. You are forever dependent. But you can't only be dependent on yourself because you'd be a limited human being, unable to see the full things. You'd ignore certain qualities that are available to you. Your own gifts, your opportunities, things that other people need from you. You need other people to see you. You need that multilateral dependence, not unilateral dependence. Conditional dependence would mean that you're dependent on someone else for a problem or something that you want to get rid of. So once the condition is gone, you're no longer dependent anymore. This is really the sales relationship, is conditional dependence. But I'm talking about that multilateral dependence, not unilateral dependence, but multilateral dependence. And there's a certain level of maturity and courage that it takes to be multilaterally dependent. So, it's time to give thanks. Giving thanks to your future, your potential future that's emerging. Giving thanks to the people who have made you and brought you here, your supply lines. Taking stock of that. And giving thanks for the present moment, knowing that it's an invited guest, and knowing that this thing, it's exactly what the future needed. Find out what's perfect, what's genuine in what it is that's being presented to you. It's the greatest teacher that you'll ever have. If you'd like some help with multilateral dependence and you're ready for that kind of helping process, we're ready to help you. We are professional wingmen, climbing buddies, sparring partners, skillful prodders, cheerleaders, success allies. We are VIP coaches. We're at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. 714-912-9261. Please visit our website. We have several blogs that are available to you. The Monday Advantage videos. Blue Sky Time, our Entrepreneurial 3.0 letter that will help you kind of tap into some of the new and best organic leadership thinking that we help our clients and we instruct them on. Thank you so much for listening to our show and your patronage. This is JD.
For more tools, go to highlevelperformance.com. Better business, better life. Fast growth, keeping things simple. Or visit us on Facebook. Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time. Set boundaries, focus your attention, and maintain a positive state of mind. Hire a VIP coach to help you. Call 714-912-9261.